Hey everyone, just a quick disclaimer. I am not a licensed electrician. This video is for entertainment purposes only and is not instructional. At the time of this recording, power to the house is completely shut off and there is no live electricity. I am only repairing outlets and switches that require attention. All high voltage electrical work, including installation of a new electrical panel and riser repair, will be performed solely by a licensed electrician. Do not attempt similar work unless you are properly qualified and authorized. I am not responsible for injury, damage, or misuse.
With that out of the way, let me inform you what's going on in the background. Before I bought this place, some squatters took it upon themselves to smash in most of the outlets and light switches in the house, which is why we're in the situation we're in now. So, you might notice this wire from the house only has 2 wires going to it. That's because when this house was originally built, a copper ground was not a requirement. As long as I don't change to a different outlet or switch, or add additional grounds to any of the wiring in the house, this will be considered grandfathered in, and my electrician shouldn't have issues getting this past inspection whenever I'm able to get them in here to do their portion. Since I'm bringing most of this wiring back to OEM spec, that means I will need to place new wire staples where they are needed. And in this situation, that means within 12 inches of an outlet, switch, or junction box. There were 2 outlet wires that were cut above the halfway point, the height of this wall. But since I'll be wall mounting the TV on the living room side, I just added an outlet where the line was cut. This will allow me to have better wire and cable management whenever I'm ready to mount the TV. These are the original outlets and boxes where the lines were cut. Looking back at this, these electro boxes could have probably been reused. But I think the OCD part of me wanted all the boxes to be the same. So, off with their heads. Since it was getting pretty late, I felt like the installation of these outlet boxes and finishing the rough wiring was a good stopping point, until I found the opportunity to work on this place again. Hello again. So, back where I left off. With these 2 outlets, there was nothing more than just to wire back the way it was. I always think it's important to take photos or label things whenever you're working on a project, especially if it's going to take a while. But if you don't get back to it in a week or more, it's really easy to forget how it all went together. So taking a few pictures or labeling important connectors can save you a ton of time and frustration later. That's just my opinion anyways. You know, while I was screwing in these outlets, there's absolutely no internal alarm going off telling me to stop and think. Like, hey, you still need to put up the drywall. Nope. The only thing running through my head was, you're not done until the outlet is screwed in. So if you're watching this, wondering why I'm doing this out of order, I was basically possessed by my own determination, just completely locked in. So here, I'm using a 2x4 as a jig to hold up the sheetrock on the top half of the wall. I screwed it in horizontally into the stud so that the top of the 2x4 is setting about 3/4 inches below the midway point of the wall. So if you were to measure from the ceiling on an 8-foot wall, it would be 4 foot and 3/4 inches from the top. And that's so I have enough space to get the sheetrock to stay up without any other assistance, so I can screw it into the studs. This piece of sheetrock was not lining up, which was unexpected. Part of that is mental errors on my end, and also the age of the house. As I was putting this piece up, the ceiling and the adjacent wall didn't seem to be square, which was causing fitment issues. Looking at this outlet box, you can see my hole cutout is off by at least an inch. After some slight modifications, I was able to get everything to line up. Earlier, when I mentioned my mental mistakes, this is exactly what I was talking about. When I made the original cutout for the switch box, I took the measurements from the left side of the wall to the switch rather than taking measurements from the far right side to the switch. Same story with this piece of sheetrock, just some cutting to get it to fit. It's hard to see, but I actually use my contractor pencil as a wedge to lift the right side of the sheetrock. I did all this to get the exact spot to cut out the lower outlet box. After using the same screw holes to remount the sheetrock, I began marking a center guideline for each stud so I can screw the rest of the sheetrock in place. Lastly, I finished the day by cutting off the excess sheetrock. If you have been following my channel or this series, I would like to say thank you for the continued support. If you are new here, I hope you find this project interesting and will also follow me along on my journey.